Frosty key.
Yeah. Oh shit! It's my key. You're right. I got this. I got this.
Enjoy. Hello. Welcome back to Part-Time Gamers Podcast, episode 4 of Dragonflight. That is a tongue twister and a half. How you doing, Frosty and Win? It's good to see you both here with me again.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In my own home.
Good.
Hanging out with you guys.
Well, oh, that's wonderful. Win did just get some lighting, so you're going to see a little glow to her. And on top of that, too, I would just like to get right into it. Oh, man, I just got to say, for everybody out there, and for everybody that knows Grieftorch. All right, sorry, I had to get that out of me.
Yeah,
Is this a Grieftorch
I'm
flex?
obsessed. I have a problem. And
The weekly Sencard Grieftorch flex.
Yep, literally.
Every pull, every death, Grieftorch. Thank you for the Grieftorch.
I can't wait until I get one,
go.
and I start using it at this every time you die.
I feel like it's infectious. The more I do it, the more I'm hearing people under their breath just being like Grieftorch, and I'm like, yes, more of you. Come into my
It's
corner.
a meme now,
Come
right?
into my corner.
It's a
It
meme.
is actually. It is. It's great. It's just so great. He says, "Man, made me for it." Oh, if they don't have Grieftorch, we know. Please stop. I love it. I'm gonna post that up later. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's everything that I need for my Grieftorch. It's wonderful. I have an addiction, and it's bad. Oh my god.
Honestly,
I
Sencard,
just-
you were the first person that I play with that got it, and yeah, definitely. In
at
raid,
least you know.
we always know when he uses it. We always know because he calls it out with
It's
amongst.
such a visual trinket too. Like you
It
see that
is.
fire shit from everywhere. Like,
And
you
now
can't
I
not
make it an
notice
audible one.
Right,
So
yeah.
you know, it's raining Grieftorch. It's raining Grieftorch.
But I just,
All right.
I just need to mention that recently in the pig community, we had a conversation about like in leadership about limiting callouts. Because I mean, we love a vivacious raid group, right? We love when people are interacting and participating vocally, but also sometimes it gets hard to like hear necessary callouts, and especially when it comes to like B-reses and like mechanics that need to be specified of who's soaking what. And yeah. So just trying to reinforce in the community that, hey, we need to be able to hear necessary callouts, and I just had to throw it in there that like Sencard calling out Grieftorch every time you use it does not constitute a necessary callout.
Listen, you're right, but my defense for every single time someone dies, maybe not everybody's paying attention as much as Grieftorch Sencard is. So me by doing that is reminding them that, hey, Grieftorch. Thank you. And but I am polite about it. If someone dies, I go, thank you for that Grieftorch. And I go,
Speaking of that, we've just recently learned there's a weak aura that will whisper people who die, thanking them
for the Grieftorch
for
cooldown.
replenishing your Grieftorch. And I immediately said that Sencard needs to have that weak aura.
Oh yeah.
We were in the group getting ready to run our mythic, and then I just hear Celtic go, "Oh, there's a weak aura for Grieftorch to thank them for it." And I just took a walk. I was like, "Give it, send it. I need it now. Give it anyway." Oh my god.
Hilarious.
So on the topic of Grieftorch and utilizing this great tool, we were also discussing and we wanted to kind of cover some content that would provide you with some insight and some tools to go towards. And one of the things that we were discussing, what was that? When I see that.
Just before we get into that, I have a bit more on Grieftorch. So before we move on.
Yes, feed me. Go.
Okay. I actually got Grieftorch in my vault last week.
Oh, you did?
Yes, it was amazing. I was just like, oh, I hate you, but I need you. So gimme. We have been progging Hurugraz this last week. Okay. And so we went in there, and I'd never used Grieftorch before, really honestly, never looked at the tooltip, nothing. I was just like, yes, I have this awesome trinket. Go in there, and of course, the Zoomy build for Demon Hunter, right? You're constantly moving.
I was waiting for this. This was on my mind. Yeah, go on.
Did not realize it was a channeled spell. Would hit Grieftorch, immediately move.
I remember this being a topic you brought up in the middle of raiding.
Yeah, after each pull, I was like, what? Like, why is my Grieftorch doing so little? Like, I thought this was an OP trinket. It's not good. And then Cell was like, you know it's a channel, right? And I'm like,
no.
what?
Yep. Yep. Nothing's worse than when you're channeling it and there's a slight knockback and you're like, son of a bitch.
yeah,
Someone needs to die right now so I can reach back.
Anyways, that being said, did a ton more damage after I realized it was a channeled spell, and I would actually stand there and channel it the whole time.
The more
We're
you
good to
know.
go.
Well, no, actually, I'm glad that you brought this up because on the topic of using your gear and properly reading it, I do need to go back and make amends for the previous episode. I said some stuff that I just wanted to retroact. I was mentioning about in the last episode being on talents and reading your talents and reading your gear and making sure that you're on top of this gear and understanding how your talents affect your builds and how maybe your 2-piece and 4-piece can complement your build. And I just want to go back for my Death Knight. I did say that it changed my rotation and changed everything that I did because of Vile Contagion and my gear, the way I read it, my set bonus, that whenever Vile Contagion is active, my ghoul gets a damage and a haste buff, and I get a damage and haste buff. My dyslexic ass read it wrong, and it's Vile Infusion. Whenever I pop a Festering wound, it gets Violet Infusion. It is not Vile Contagion. So it is just its own effect, so it doesn't matter what build I go. So go back and read your talents multiple times. Don't do it just once. Do it over and over. Read that gear. Do your homework because at the end of my raid, I was giving more, advice. And then I was like, yeah, just like my build with Vile Contagion. And
Hey, to be fair, like as soon as I read my 2-set and 4-set ability and realized that it didn't change my rotation, I never read it again. And I don't even know what it does, except that it gives me more damage and it doesn't impact my rotation. Yeah. So never looked back.
Okay.
The only thing that one made me think about for DH, it being like the 2-set being it has increased chance to increase crit damage on your Blade Dance and Chaos Strike.
Yeah.
And then the second part being just also amping up their abilities critical damage. I think the only thing that it changes in my mind is like if you're playing the Throglaive build, there's that priority queue difference between Throglaive and Chaos Strike if you're in like meta. I think it shifts Annihilation up to higher than Throglaive. Whereas before, Throglaive would always take priority. So that's like...
But your chaos...
So
it increases your crit damage, you said?
So if you're in meta form,
on
Chaos
specifically
Strike,
those abilities.
Yeah, so if you're in meta form, your Chaos Strike turns into Annihilation. So if you're in meta form, your Annihilation takes precedence over your Throglaive. But if you're not in meta form, you'd do Throglaive instead of your Chaos Strike.
Instead of Chaos Strike. Yeah, if you have it up. Yeah, it's a weird thing that never used to be the case for Demon Hunters until this expansion. So it's interesting.
This is good that you're bringing this up because another thing, and for everybody listening, this is something that unfortunately happens, but it is a problem out there, is that one of the things that my set bonus does is that it says that when I pop a Festering Wound, my ghoul gets a haste and damage increase. Here's the thing though, is that one of my abilities is Army of the Dead, which summons ghouls. So when it says your ghoul, I remember certain set bonuses, especially in the last tier, ghouls, it would affect your ghouls, which is why Army was so strong, is because every one of them was affected. So what I need to go do now is read into it again just to make sure and clarify, is it affecting only singularly my one ghoul? Or if I summon an Army of the Dead and I pop a Festering Wound, do they all get that haste and damage bonus? Because that would be bonkers if every single one of my ghouls got that set bonus, because then that would just be absolute crazy. Army of the Dead, Apocalypse, every time I'm summoning ghouls, if they're proccing that. So that's something, these are things that you guys want to look at your gear at and understand what is my gear exactly doing. Because they say these things, and when you are summoning ghouls, it says summoning ghouls, or it says it affects your ghoul. You got to go and look. Sometimes these things will affect other abilities. So don't limit. You got to go out, you got to go and read. I mean, that's just if you really want to get maximize. I don't want to stay on that too much. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add had
to print a retraction quick for
Yeah. This is great though. Like listening to you guys, and I want everybody that's also watching, I want you guys to understand that this is the perfect example that you're always improving. There's always something that you can improve upon. There's always something that you don't want to always just assume you understand or that you're always in the best place that you can be. There's always room for improvement, and you always want to keep revisiting these things, looking over these things. If I never went back, I would have just been still assuming that my Vile Contagion was doing what it was doing when it wasn't. It's me popping a Festering Wound is giving Vile Infusion. So with that being said, guys, gear being a huge, topic of today's discussion, we were looking over crafting gear, and a lot of people in the community that we know and people in the guild, a lot of people take advantage of this and a lot of people don't. And one of the things that we want to cover is crafting gear and how you can go do that and the benefits of doing that. Before I go into it, do either one of you want to touch upon this topic before I start running down a rampage of this?
Well, I just wanted to say
you.
that it's a new system, right? It's something fresh that WoW has never seen before, which is one of the reasons we wanted to touch on it today, is because it's different from how you would have acquired gear in the past, right?
Yes,
Purchase gear would have just been on the auction house, right? BOEs. Now we have this new system, and something we've never seen before, something exciting, something to complement and fill out maybe that one piece you've been
You never get it in vaults.
Yes.
You never get it in. Yep.
Exactly.
Haven't been getting
Sitting
it in
on
your
that
vault.
rare piece forever. And
Yeah.
Or like, here's a great example. What would you have done in the past if you needed to get a piece of gear for something that you couldn't get in raid, or let's say, in a dungeon?
You would have
had to keep
spammed
grinding
M+.
that.
You would have just
Yeah,
spammed
you just
that
gotta
one
hope.
dungeon.
Or you go to the auction house and you go, no, fuck that. I'm going to go and go grind because I'm not paying 600,000 gold, 400, 150K of gold to get that one piece that I'm just lacking on right now. This is where
Also,
go on.
there's a lot of judgment that comes with equipping a BOE item that you purchase off the auction house. Thanks.
Yes, there is. So now what you can do is every crafting station has an additional table now. So now, like for me, blacksmith, I have my crafting table next to the anvil and smelter. Every one of them has them. Alchemists, leather workers, everybody has them. And you can go and check that if you invest in working on your professions, which is a topic we're going to get to. And you can go and look, and I love this. You can go and look and see, what item do I need right now? So I'm going to give everybody a good example. I needed a necklace. For the longest time, I just couldn't get a freaking necklace, and it was driving me up the freaking wall. And so I went to the craft. Yeah,
We need to revisit this later.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I went to the crafting table and I looked at them, and I think what's the spark of ingenuity? Is it called?
Yes.
So you get one spark of ingenuity that you need. There's quests. Where else do you get them? It's
Okay.
quests.
So
There's-
that's the whole basis of the crafted gear, like the good gear that you actually want to get. You have to use a spark
Yes,
for, and you only get one spark.
But there's
per,
other. Yeah.
No, you only get one per week, and you do it through the weekly quest
the
system.
challenges of tier.
Challenges of the tier. And actually, they've now introduced where your alts don't have to go through that system. You just automatically get all of them. But unless you've already started down that road with your alts, if you've started that quest chain, then you have to continue it. It's like punishing you for having early alts.
So that makes sense why I'm doing it on my mage. Okay.
Yes. So right now, if you were to go like level an alt right now and bring it in, you wouldn't have to go through that quest chain. You would just automatically get those sparks.
Got you.
So yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but I understand they're working through how to best do this. So yes, I know all
But
the
the
alts
other
that I
benefit-
care about are on this path, and now I have to do it. At least it's not a long quest chain, right?
Yeah. And this isn't just for like what I'm bringing up, and I probably shouldn't have jumped right into this. If you're, let's say, just hit fresh 70 and you want to get some easy peasy gear, I think it's like 343 up to 350s, low 50s. I think that you don't need a spark of ingenuity.
No.
All you got to do is go to the auction house or farm the mats, or if you're in a guild and they have the resources for it, you can go and grab those mats. Then you go and you can place a work order either to someone personally in the guild or just in public. And I think the difference between public and guild is that the guild, they can win, correct me if I'm wrong, the person in the guild that you put it in the guild for can supply the materials, but on a public one, you have to provide the materials, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. On a guild one or a personal one, you can choose to have the crafter supply the materials. Because a lot of times those materials are associated with that profession. So they might have a lot of them, whereas you would have to go buy them. So there's a lot of advantages to that. And before we move on, I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the work order system. It seems like it's it works, but it's failed in a major area, and that is public orders. There's no public orders.
Yes.
Who
Absolutely.
would do a public order when you can't control the outcome, whereas you can on a private order? Frosty, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I had a frustration where like the first time that I made a build or like made one of those like base pieces before I upgraded it, I just did a public order and just was like, fuck it, whatever, I'll take whatever the outcome is. But then I was going back to try to upgrade it later. And I was like, wait, I need to find a specific person who can do this. Like, I can't just do this right now. And that I found actually really frustrating because it wasn't like, auction house, we can get stuff right away. You can as soon as you need it. But this time I was like spamming trade chat. Like, hey, can anyone upgrade an elemental lariat, please? Anyone? And I was doing that for like 3 days until finally some jewel crafter came on. So that
Too bad
I
you're not
found
on
very annoying.
Sargeras. We have someone on Sargeras that's literally named Lariat Guy, and that's
Oh
all
my
he does.
God.
That's his name.
Great. That is
Yep.
so good.
He's a warlock.
recommended them to me too.
Yeah.
Nice. So that's my only frustration with it.
Shout out to Lariat Guy.
Yeah. I to be honest, I don't fully understand the quality aspect of it because I haven't done the professions myself, so I don't know what it means.
Okay, we'll get into that.
Give me eye level.
Yeah, we will get into that.
We'll get
'cause
into
I
that.
do understand that too. Yeah.
Speaking of Elemental Lariat, that's what you needed, Sencard. You said a neck. That's the best neck for like everybody.
We love those stats.
Yes. It automatically has an embellishment, right? So you can have, and we'll get into embellishments again later.
Is that the one that complements off other socketed gems? Is that the one I'm thinking?
Yeah, and you can put 3 sockets in it.
Yep.
3, right?
Yep.
And again, one of those sockets, one of the gems, you actually have to do a work order for to get. You cannot buy off the auction house, right? To get that primary stat plus secondary stat, super great. But anyways, what do you want to say?
Well, I was going to say to touch on this topic really quick because I do have some thoughts about this. Is about where it failed, and I'm not in anywhere the right area, but a direction I would like it to go in is that one of the biggest problems is it doesn't encourage work orders. What it encourages is trying to get the best order, not encouraging work orders.
Yeah.
And when you do for everybody listening, when you put in a craft order, okay, every profession now has a grade of 1, 2, 3, and then it goes straight to like 5. Like
It's got 4 and 5. Yep.
Yeah. And how it works is that depending on how much you've invested as a blacksmith or whatever you're in, I'm just going to stick blacksmith because I'm a blacksmith primarily. If I see a work order, I can see about a rough estimation of where I will make that. So 2-star, 3-star, I'm about 3-star. But for each profession, such as blacksmith, I'm just using blacksmith as an example. I can focus in certain areas. I can focus in armor crafting, weapon crafting, and alloys, like making bars, like those nice bars of for primordial bars or whatever they're called.
That are used in other professions, right?
Exactly. So I can focus on what I want to specialize in. That's literally what it's called, specializations. So when you put in your work order, anybody has access to that. So if you put in a wrist craft, like, I need a new plate wrist, and I barely invest in that because I'm mainly invested in weaponsmithing, I can still make that wrist for you, but you're going to get it bronze tier, where there could be someone out there for that public order that could be fully specialized in that and make it the top tier. And it's open to anybody. So there's nowhere for you to choose the option to go, I want to pay extra, invest a little extra. Or maybe if I'm using, this is where I was going to go. This is my idea, is that if you're investing the resources to make it as good as it can be, then it should be someone that is that skill level that can use those kind of resources of that level to make that piece of gear. Is something that I was thinking on. I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm just saying that's a direction I'd like to see. You know what I'm saying? And that would encourage lower work orders, in my opinion. Go on, sorry.
Along those lines, when you do a personal order, right? So say there's someone spamming trade chat, and you're like, okay, I know this person can make this. I'm going to send them this. As it stands right now, you cannot send level 5 because no one is guaranteed a level 5 at this point. You have to, it's all about inspiration, right? You need inspiration to proc that. That's why you have to go and recraft to try and get it. So they can't accept the order if it's a level 5 because they can only guarantee a level 4. I don't see why public orders can't be the same thing. Why can't you specify what level?
I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can only accept the order if you can guarantee that level. right? So
Yeah.
so what you do in a personal order is you put it as a level 4, and then you're like talking with the person, whispering them, and then you just recraft until it procs to level 5. Typically, right now, people say, okay, it's 1K, 5K, 20K, whatever, depending if it's a weapon or a neck or whatever, to craft the item. And then usually they'll give you the recrafts for free. So you just put in the 1 silver or whatever to do the recraft. And then you just keep spending your artisan's metal to get that recraft.
Which I have a crap ton of.
Oh, well, then you must not be crafting enough, Sencard.
I'm not, because I need to do more reputation, unlock more mats to get the mats that I need. Because you spend artisan's metal on multiple things, but one of the things is getting mats, is the artisan's metal. I haven't got my artisan's. What is the reputation? Artisan's Consortium, is it called?
Sounds right.
Yeah, but so artisan's metal, you use it a lot for crafting like professions gear, which is a good avenue for leveling your professions. For getting your skill level. So I've been spending a lot on that, trying to level up my leatherworking skill level.
Level up the leather.
Yeah.
I want to throw something at the both of you really quick though. And I want to know if this is a good idea for you guys. It's very short, sweet, and to the point, because I'm stealing it from another MMO. Final Fantasy had a great 14 had a great system for crafting, and it's simple and easy. All they did was they put NPC work orders in. Okay. And when you would go there and you would see for whatever it was, and it would refresh once per day. And the better grade you made it, so it would be like, for me being a blacksmith, it would know what I'm capable of making. But the better the grade that I'd make it and turn it in, the more, so when you complete, right now they have quests for your professions. When you complete them, they give you three specialization points. Depending on the grade that you turn them in, might give you more, like an extra point if you make it 2-tier. And then if it's a 3-tier piece that you turn in, it would give you 5. And you get it once per day, but it would give you a reason to do a work order first. Second, it would give you a reason to really try to make that high quality piece of gear that is in your realm. Like, so if I'm investing in armor, then it would be an armor piece, and it would be one of the ones that it knows I can make. So I would have to go out of my way. If let's just say I want to slam the quest out really quick, I could just do a mid-tier and get the bare minimum rewards from that quest. But if I wanted to, I could go out of my way, craft a 2-3-tier bars to give me a higher chance of inspiration and a higher tier at getting that better piece of gear, or go to the auction house and buy the resources I need to get the max reward from turning that one piece in for that day. So that way I get a better return back. And I feel like that would help people out get to that higher specialization tier that they need to. Because right now you're really limited down to how you're going to get them, either by happen chance, by gathering, by doing the quest, and then there was one other way. I mean, if you're trying to maximize your specialization or your crafting, you're doing that anyways. You're guaranteed a certain number per week if you farm. So for example, I'm a leather worker and a skinner. So if I am skinning animals, I know that this week I have a chance of getting, this number of knowledge points through skinning. There's an item that will drop. And actually, I mean, there's a weak aura. There is.
There's a weak aura for tracking that. It pulls it up and it says, okay, you have 2 left that you can get. So you need to keep skinning, because I can get more skinning knowledge points. And for leatherworking, it's certain mobs in Dragonflight. So you want to go and like farm those mobs, because it'll drop a piece that will give me, 3 knowledge points. So I want to do that. Right. Yep. But also, exactly, I wanted to touch on what you were talking about with the work orders. There's that weekly quest where it's like, fulfill 3 work orders.
Make some things.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good topic.
It's such bullshit, because there's no public work orders. So how are you going to do that?
You can't guarantee that you can.
No. And if you're trying to level it, your friends aren't going to spend their sparks on you. Right. So what you end up doing is getting on an alt and sending yourself some bullshit work orders. So it's like a system,
armor crafting kits. Yeah.
That's it that you can easily bypass, kind of, right? So it's clearly not functioning as intended, right?
Now,
I don't understand how you catch up once you fall behind like the market curve. Like if someone's already doing all the tier 5 pieces of a certain spec, like I don't know. How do you prevent that like shard monopoly.
What I would love too is I think that it'd be awesome that in the auction house you could buy things, or you could put the work order in, because right now you can only put a work order in for something you want, not something you can craft. And I'd like for that to be seen too, because the reason why I like this is that, and I tell people this all the time in raiding, dungeoning, and I want to make this very clear for people listening. And now I'm coming back to something I'm hoping this helps a few people out. You do not need the best of the best potions. You don't need the best of the best. Like, yeah, if you're really trying to push, but like there's
min-maxing
that I use.
Right?
Yeah. And like, if I'm raiding, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I mean, I'm raid leading all the time in normals and heroic. And I know that when I'm doing normals, I don't need to use the best of the best. Yeah. So I'll go in and I'll buy potions that are silver, bronze sometimes, or I'll go in and buy a glacial fury potion that like,
pleb. I'm rocking a silver tier frozen devotion on my weapons. So,
exactly.
I'm not going to spend 60K at a gold.
So yeah, you want to know what they were?
Oh, what?
3 weeks into the tier, it was like 200K,
like
180K. Like you had to buy 2 WoW tokens to get your weaponage.
Your weapons chance is so
This
dumb.
is beautiful. Okay, no, this backs up my point even more. Okay. Now imagine if a person that could craft this went into it and said, hey, well, I'll just make a work order. If I see that it's worth blah, 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 I'll just put in crafting order showing you that I'll craft this for you. And they can only do 20. So the auction house won't be flooded with one person saying, I'll make 1,000 of them. It's 20. You're limited to 20. So I'll do 20. And it makes you go, okay, I still want to make money off this, but I want to beat the market. And I feel like that would encourage seeing people that aren't at the top tier still making money and getting their work orders made, because people can go in and get their crafting order fulfilled for a potion or for a stupid enchant that's not, 50K. They can go in and go, well, I'll pay, someone 30K that's willing to craft that same thing. And maybe if I bring the resources instead, that person's like, well, I'll just do it for 1,000, gold if you give me the resources for that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I want people to put up work orders for it. Even if they're not supplying the resources, at least they'll say, hey, I'm willing to do it for 1,000K if you bring me the resources.
At the same time,
huge. Yes.
I think Blizzard is trying to encourage people to really invest in that and to be rewarded, to be rewarded for that investment, which is why it's so difficult and so costly to get to that highest tier.
But this is where it bites them in the ass, is that's a small majority, man, of people that are really going to go above and beyond to maximize. And you're right, Wayne.
But then they should be rewarded for that. Like, in a way, it's in a way it makes sense. To build on what previous crafted gear was. It was nothing and it was meaningless, and you could do it 5 minutes after taking that profession if you bought all these mats on the auction house and just leveled it super quick, right? That's what they're trying to that's what they're trying to avoid, which I think makes sense.
I do want to also mention something as well, just to keep the learning flow going for everybody that's listening. In the professions, there is something, they also added something called, I don't know what they call it for you, but it's like overfuse element or overload element, where if I'm mining, I can go out, find a node, and there's different nodes out there. And I like this because it's something new. It's a 12-hour ability, but it's awesome because you can get that 12-hour ability to come back like that. Is I can go find an elemental node that I need the element of. So let's say fire and earth right now have been big for me. I need a lot of fire and earth elemental, just motes. If I find one, I can overload it, and it sometimes, if it's earth, it will split into 3 other clusters. So I'm essentially not just mining that one earth node, I'm mining 4 of them. Fire, I can, if it's fire, I can overload it, and I get 3 times the elemental. And it's a 12-hour ability, but every elemental node I mine reduces that cooldown by an hour. So if I'm on top, So something that a lot of people don't know is that I'm seeing people going in there going, dude, I need to get how many what's? Dude, that's so much. And then if you invest right, and this is where I actually gave Win a huge shout out for this, and I want to bring this back up because Win saved me and made me able to enjoy crafting, because what you brought up. Wowhead and guides. Go look up guides and specializations. I was looking at it and I was like, God, this is really overwhelming. And I went and looked up a guide, and it tells you, hey, if you're a blacksmith, if you want to invest in armor smithing, do these steps. You want to go into mining, do these steps. And reading over the mining guide that you actually sent me, because that was the first one you sent me, that was one of the first things was overloading elements. It says invest in your mining, your basic mining processing or whatever it is. But it's like put the first specialization you unlock, put it in the elemental overload, and then just ignore it and go back to doing what you're doing. That way you have that ability to be able to maximize on mining. And then on top of that, it's also another way to farm mats to sell in the auction house to make some gold if you wanted to. And unless you go and read these things, you're really not going to just stumble across it. Because when you're highlighting over it, it doesn't show the ability like it's an ability until you unlock it.
Yeah.
And you also, it doesn't tell you that it's an hour cooldown. It just says every time you mine an elemental ore, it comes off it shortens the duration of it. On a 12-hour thing, man, I'm thinking it shortens the duration. What is it, like 10 minutes per one? Like I'm going to use this thing once per, day. And then all of a sudden I went mining and I hit my 10th note. I was like, how is it only on a 2-hour cooldown? And then all of a sudden I looked down and it's off cooldown, and I wound up realizing every elemental node reduces it by an hour. I was like, oh, so if you're really doing in harvesting day, you can take advantage of that. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. And then the second thing I wanted to bring up was profession gear. It is so vital that if you're going to get into professions, that you get your profession gear. They give you such an ample boost, especially if you're just starting off. Actually, I'm telling you,
and look at your stats on that gear, right?
Oh my God,
you want your stats on that gear to be what you're focusing on, and that's actually another reason I'm glad you brought up those WoW head guides. Is for professions, it's not like there is a meta build for each profession. Right? Yep. Where you need to do this specific thing to be the best at this.
Well, it changes as you're investing in it. Go on.
Well, but it depends on what your intention is with that build, right? What are you wanting to make gold? Okay, well then take this path because these items are really valuable, right? Are you wanting to make gear? Then take this path, right? And that's what I love about those WoW head guides is they spell out these different paths you can take depending on what you want to do. And yeah, I made this mistake on my alt of like putting my knowledge points and I was like, oh, I think I need this. I think I need that. And then I looked at this specialization guide for what I actually wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I messed up. I spent 20 points where I didn't need to. Right.
Yep.
Frosty, have you done anything with crafting so far?
I think the fact that it's so open-ended and there's like so many different paths to take, like it's not
daunting.
Worth it for me. Like I honestly preferred the previous crafting systems where it was like very clear single path you take, you just do all your level ups and then you can craft the things. I'm like, all right, that was easy. This is not the part of WoW that I I don't care about
Great,
crafting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm
then
like,
you just
let me go and
right?
fight things again. So I just don't. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't touched crafting.
I understand exactly where you're coming from, Frosty, and I actually totally get it. Like I mean, this is daunting for some people, but what I've liked is the fact that you don't see that a lot of people are still not taking advantage of, though, is it's making a lot more things readily available. Like before, potions were one set amount of gold. If people go in and look, here, I'm going to give a quick roundabout example. Bronze health potion right now is like about 90k health. A silver is like just above 100k, and then a gold would be 120k healing. Like you could still go in and get what you need to prepare for a raid without paying for the best of the best of the best, just to have something, you know what I'm saying? And that's the different grades offers more availability. And on top of that too, it makes a lot of things are a lot easier to craft. What comes into play now is not that it's, oh shit, before you had to go and get those resources to craft that badass thing. Now it's easier to get those materials, but it's harder to make the better thing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So like you're going to see more stuff in the auction house, more stuff, work orders. If you put in a work order, it's going to be easier to get. And if you go and look, dude, a lot of things that you go buy that you want to craft in the crafting thing, if you want it, just get it really quick, you can buy it. It's just, silver, bronze, even gold. Some of them are so dirt cheap. Actually, when I was building, crafting an item that I wanted to be max tier or try to get it max tier, buying all the best resources for it was dirt cheap. I was like, wow, okay. It's
so on that note though, there's the best items don't necessarily increase your chance to get the best outcome.
Yes.
So it depends. Right. Yes. It depends on your crafter's skill level versus the required skill level to proc that max level item, which is what brings inspiration in. Honestly, inspiration is the most important thing with crafting, especially when you're doing, well, actually, when you're doing anything, you want inspiration because it gives
That's
you.
That's the one that increases. Yeah, go on.
It increases your proc chance, right? So basically, if the difference between your skill level and the required skill level to proc that item, if you already have that in your inspiration proc chance, having the best mats does nothing for you. You might as well have the lowest mats. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's of course you always want to use the best mats because you're like, I want the best chance, but sometimes it actually isn't increasing your chances.
And one thing I want to add, and this is now where content comes into play, and Frosty, actually, you would know this because Mythic Dungeons after 10, you get Primal, what is it?
Primal Focus?
Yeah.
Primal, where you can
Depends
combine
on
10
the
of them,
level,
right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anything
And
1
then-
through 10, you get that. And then levels 11 and above, you get, 11 and above you get is where you get the Primal Infusion. And then 16 and above, you get Concentrated Primal Infusion, which you need for 10 of those to upgrade to the next level. I think to what, 418?
So
Exactly.
so you get Primal Focus 10 through 15, and that gives you need 10 of those to make a Primal Infusion, which creates your item as a 395 to 405 is the range. 405 is the max. And then you need the concentrated Primal Focus to create the concentrated Primal Infusion to create items that are 408 through 418. So 418 being the max proc chance on that item.
So what I was getting at now that you guys have this knowledge is that by doing content, heroic raids as well do it. I believe each boss also gives you some as well.
Heroic gives you the second tier one, the same as a Mythic 11 through 15.
Oh,
You need
The
Mythic.
Primal Focus?
Yeah, Mythic you would have to do to get concentrated.
Okay. So with doing that and you farming those, once you get them, you need Primal Chaos as well. I believe it's right.
But that stuff you just
and
get
Primal
from
Focus.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything, basically.
If
I
you
think
run
I
out
have
of Primal
over
Chaos, you're
300.
not playing the game.
Yeah, exactly. But you combine those and then you get one of those. And then that also can come into play into a work order as well. So when you put in a work order, you can put that in there. So what I'm trying to say, but I know Win and Frosty can add into this as well, is that if you're going to craft something that you know you need and want, and also I'm going to add something that just came out for this patch that you can capitalize on top of, craft that piece of gear. Actually, I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Craft that banging piece of gear. And I'm kind of curious though, because now you can transmute gear into tier pieces. Can you do with crafting?
Nope.
Damn it.
Crafted gear you cannot put into there, which makes sense. It
Which
makes
is good,
sense
yeah.
though.
It does.
Yes.
It does. You see where I'm going with this?
It
I
would
was like,
change
wait
the
a second.
level.
But
So because that would be free levels.
But with that being said, though, still, if there's rings, there's anything that's not one of the tier pieces, cloaks, necklaces. What else do we got?
Get your lariats then.
Yeah.
Get your lariat.
Get your embellishments in. Get your B-Res bracers for Mythic Plus. Anyone. Those things are pretty important. Yeah, that's a little, maybe, I don't know if it's little known. I only found out about it recently so there's a limit on the number of embellishments you can have on your gear, where like the extra proc chances and stuff. The bracers are engineering tinkerings, I think it's called. It's not an embellishment, it's a tinker.
Yes.
And that you could have alongside your elemental lariat, and then with the proper safety thing, you can have a chance at B-resing your fallen allies in Mythic Plus in the case where your one Death Knight dies and no one else is alive.
Well, I think
Not
When you're
talking about
talking-
anyone in particular.
when you're talking about that item, Frosty, I think that item just
Revival?
Just
Is that?
no, the safety
It's-
thing that it just prevents
It
the
prevents you dying.
backfiring
Yeah.
from killing you.
Right. It doesn't make it a
'Cause with-
guaranteed B-res chance, but
Yeah.
in the case where it would fail normally, you die.
Yeah, and in the past, the engineering engineering item that would let you B-res, you had to be an engineer, right, to use it. Now I
it's
think that's
anyone.
changed, right?
Yeah, engineers have the benefit of it being a guaranteed revival now is the difference.
Can you
Okay.
tell
but
everybody the
non-engineers
catch
do
to it
not.
though?
I mean, there's not anymore, right? If you as long as you
Yeah,
put the
but
safety
it was,
thing in,
yeah.
it used to be that if you tried to B-res
But the
someone.
troll, is that you can B-res everyone, and then if you're not quick on the money, as soon as you get revived, what it used to do, if you don't have the
This is a
safety tool,
different thing, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's-
okay.
This
I
is-
thought that
that's
was the same
savior,
thing. Yeah, I was like,
right?
That's Savior.
Yeah. Oh, Savior. Yeah.
Mhm.
There is something about engineering, though. I'll let you guys wrap this up, but that I didn't know until I was told recently. But what was that one? But what is that? Like that embellishment that you're talking about, the revival?
It's not.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
about that.
it's
It's not embellishment.
It's not an
Does it count
embellishment.
as
It's
one?
a tinker
gonna say,
on
what is
the.
this?
I forget what it's called.
But it allows you to revive?
They're on needlessly complex bracers is the item name, and then there's some like tinker that you put on that lets you like have the revive, and then there's some
Okay, I know what
safety
you're talking about
protocol
now.
thing. I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
That like prevents
Yeah.
the kickback. Yeah.
I got you. I remember now. There's one thing that I wanted to bring up to everybody else as well that I just learned. Frosty, I think I brought this up to you, and when we were discussing it, is that there's an engineering item that I wasn't aware of, and it's a cage, and you buy it off the auction house. It's an engineer makes it, and you take it into raiding, and the elementals that you fight. Once when they're dead, I believe it is. I haven't gotten to use it yet, so I'm going to be learning about it. But it's, you know how you can do awakened earths, awakened fires, those different modes that you get? You combine the modes to make the awakened. There's the next tier up, apparently. And I haven't gotten to that crafting yet, so I wouldn't know. But I would just want to tell everybody that's listening that it's a cage that those elementals in the raids, if you go up to them, when they're dying, you have to channel it and you capture them. And when you capture them, after 10 minutes of you holding onto it in your inventory, I don't know why there's a 10 minutes of you holding onto it, it turns it into that awakened fire, awakened earth, or what, so on and so forth.
What's it called?
It's a cage that engineers make. Someone told me about it, and I was like, wait, so you're telling me that I don't have to get moats. If I'm raiding, I could be farming? And he's like, yeah, you get these cages. I think you're only allowed to have one. It's an engineer.
I need to look this up later.
Yeah, no, hold on. Engineer cage to capture. I'm just gonna do the elementals. Dragonflight. Let's see if it pops up. That's the first thing.
In the meantime, speaking of embellishments, I got a ring crafted. I was like, a ring was one of the items that I was lacking, and I'm like, man, I just want to craft this item. I just want to, get this slot filled out. And so, like you were speaking to earlier, Frosty, of like, you can't just go and get it. You have to like, browse trade chat and see who's available to make it. The ring I really was looking for, nobody was making it, but this other one people were making it. And to me, it didn't matter because I was like, you can specify the secondary stats anyways, right? But it had this ability with it. It's the one that's like, it teleports you to a random place. And so I was like, oh, fuck it. Who cares? I'll just make this. And then Cell scared me because he was like, oh, that counts as an embellishment. Like, there's your second embellishment. Like, you're screwed.
You already limited yourself there. Yeah.
And no, it does not count towards your second embellishment.
Okay.
I looked it up and I'm like, oh, because I had already made it. And I was like, fuck.
Yep. Screwed yourself over.
Frosty, I forgot the shirt. That's what I forgot. Someone complimented your shirt in the stream. I messed up, guys. I'll make it up
You
next week.
fucked up.
Nice.
I
Said-
fucked up. Sorry.
Our karma is disrupted.
Oh, it's
Sorry, all right.
I'm sticking to the script. I wear the same shirt every time.
Hey, I do laundry. I do laundry. I don't wear the same clothes.
Oh, that was good. You just pulled a Sencard right there just to point this out a lot more.
Just want to make this. There's a reason for this now, everybody.
Hey, that's it.
But
I have this
with-
for.
Oh, you got
But
the
you don't
squishy
need
one.
it. You don't deep throat your microphone.
It's
like I
the-
do,
Oh my God. We almost made it through a podcast without you making a sexual comment. Almost.
I got it.
It's the 10-cent version.
That's all I need. I need something that just holds me back at all times.
We just need to strap you to the chair.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
just sit
need
there.
little hands on
Grieftorch?
that
What?
are like reaching towards you.
All right, so back on topic really quick. Wayne, if you could share it with Frosty really quick. I did send it to you. It's called Zap Throttle Soul Inhaler. Use it. Begin draining the essence of a particularly powerful elemental. If your target dies while being drained, you will capture its soul. The device's engine will need to cool for 15 minutes, so that's what it was, so you can't keep spamming it. It will cool for 15 minutes after successful capture. Only one player can attempt to drain an elemental soul at a time. Oh,
Wait, is this a trinket?
It is No, it's an item. It's a device. It's something that you keep in your inventory.
Oh,
It shouldn't be a trinket.
Okay.
It's not
Speaking
like,
of
it doesn't give
one
you
at
any
a
stats. Like,
time.
what is this? Huh.
Speaking of
That's
one at
good.
a time, though, the most recent, okay, was it the? Yeah, it was the 5th tier challenge for the Spark this week.
Okay.
That sucked.
I haven't done it yet.
That was
I didn't do it
the
yet.
worst challenge.
Okay.
What was it?
You
I
had to
haven't done
go
it yet.
to that one area in Thaldraszus or whatever and kill elites, but you had to channel on them first. And
Ooh.
okay, I just want to say the tooltip does not explain it at all. And depending on how your UI setup was, if your like filler bar thing of filling whatever was somewhere hidden and you didn't see it, like mine was, you wouldn't know. Like I thought the quest wasn't working because I kept doing it on mobs and I was like, I'm not getting credit. And I was getting credit, but it was filling the bar and I just couldn't see it.
The bar was also broken for that for the first day. It would every time you would make partial progress, it would reset back to 0. But it would keep the progress like under the scenes.
Oh, but you're
like,
freaking out going,
but I'm like,
what
why am I not? Yeah, but and then every time.
Also, though,
but also the mobs weren't shared.
If someone channels on it and gets to it first, it DRs them where you cannot channel on it then. So everyone was camping that area and it was a race. Could not for the life of you channel because it was only elite rares.
And there's only like 6 elites in that like patterning around there. So it was a mess that first day.
So for people listening though, if you go to get these Sparks of Ingenuity, it's tiers, TYR tier. A tiers quest line, and there's 5 of them now, right? This was the 5th one.
Yes, that was the 5th one.
And each time you do it, they were little fun quests up until now, where you'd be like, go fall through some rings, or kill like 5 normal ads really quick in a quick succession, or go find my arm really quick and retouch it to my statue. It was a simple quest. You get a Spark of Ingenuity, which is what you need to make this high tier loot. Thus, through the crafting orders, what Frosty and Winter bugging about, and what I'm about to lose my mind over, it seems like, is that this final quest is just a little bit of a pain. Where when you go farm to get that Spark of Ingenuity, that you have to do that and then bring it back, and then you bring it to the engine and you go, "Hey, I did the thing," and it gives you the Spark of Ingenuity. But yeah, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that really quick. So that sucks. That sounds like that sucks. I'm hoping now that I've waited that I don't have to deal with as much garbage. But I do want to recap a few things just to start to wrap things up. So for anybody that was listening, what we're trying to get at right now is that if you're looking to get a little bit of gear and familiar yourself with some newer utilities or tools or things that you can benefit from, go check out the crafting order table. As we were saying before, you can go in there and anything that you might need. It's styled just like the auction house, right, guys? Right? It looks just like the auction house in a way.
Similar
or is
UI.
it because I have Auctionator?
Oh, that's probably
different?
why. Yeah, it looks just like the auction house. It's identical actually to the auction house. And when you go in there though, instead of seeing everybody's postings of what they're listing in the auction house, instead what you'll see is what you can choose to have crafted for you. And then you, unless you do it through guild, I think it's only guild, right?
It's
or
only
personal,
guild or
they
personal.
can supply it.
That's the only options.
Yeah, guild or personal. If you know someone that can craft it and you're kind of a few items short, you can send them the resources and they can fill in the rest for you. But generally, though, on the public orders, though, it's only you. You have to supply the materials. But as Win was saying before, the catch behind that, though, is if you do a public order, you are at the mercy of the community. And when I say community, I don't mean your community. I mean the entirety of the
of your server.
Yeah, your server.
Of your server. Yeah, a couple of other things also in the recap of like important things. Get a week aura to remind you of what things you can still get for your knowledge points that week. You definitely, if you're looking to craft, you need to be getting those every single week.
Handy Notes is the one I use, and that one shows you on the map. And only this. I mean, it doesn't tell you about the ads and where you can farm ads, but it tells you on the map, though, where you can go get rewards from chests that give you a quick reward to your blacksmithing specialization or so on and so forth for all of them.
And also inspiration. You want to maximize the inspiration. That is the most important stat for you as a crafter. I think almost every single crafting tree or crafting specialization tree has a path to inspiration. That is the path you want to go before you try and maximize any specific piece of gear. or whatever it is, you need that inspiration.
The other thing I want to add to this too is if you do get into crafting, really go look in these guides. As we said before, these guides will give you the direction to go and how to invest to do these things. And one of the things that I learned through this crafting guide is that if you max one of them out, such as armor crafting, if you max it fully out because you're investing in it, you can get to drink, I think it's like dragon tea or whatever it is that helps increase, I believe it's your inspiration when you're crafting, but you can only get that and use that when you max out your tier. So just saying, make sure you invest. Don't go jumping around from tree to tree. Choose a path, follow the guide, invest in it. Invest in it and it will pay off. Sorry, Wynn.
Also, and your artisan metal, so you get artisan metal every time you get knowledge points.
Yes, yes.
Weekly. So there's 2 NPCs close to where the crafting orders area is. There's like that mailbox.
It's right down the road from the blacksmith. Yes, yes.
You can buy knowledge points from that NPC weekly.
Oh shoot! Go on.
It's worth the investment every week buying those.
There's a quest that you can get to, and I'm pretty sure you get it pretty freaking early on, where you go to the centaur area and you can unlock the dragon eggs that help. When you get those dragon eggs, you can turn them in for specialization.
Yes,
points.
the knowledge eggs.
Right? So, I forgot about that.
There's those shards of knowledge. Then there's also a one-time, so Wowhead has a really great guide on this. The one-time knowledge point acquisition. There's some NPCs hidden throughout Dragonflight that you can go and talk to, and they just give you 10 knowledge points. It's huge. You definitely want to do that. Then there's also some like chests / like items hidden throughout Dragonflight. And if you go, like Wowhead has a table that shows you what the item is, what profession it's for, where it is. It gives you the waypoint. So if you have TomTom, you can just type it in and figure out where to go.
That's where Handy Notes came in for me. Yeah.
It's super great. It gives you so many knowledge points. You you definitely need those to like kickstart yourself. But I think you have to have at least 25 skill points in your profession in order to find those. So you have to give a bit of investment first before you get to the point where you can actually like kickstart yourself into that next level.
Yes. And then on top of that too, so I feel like we've covered most of the crafting stuff to give everybody a good headway into you crafting. Now you harvesting, I just want to touch on this. My number one tip I'm going to give you is 2 things, is that I feel like it's good for all of them. Check out your guides again. That overloading thing I told you about the mining, that is also for herbalization, as far as I'm aware of as well. And I believe possibly leather, I think. I would say go check it out. Skinning. I think there is one for it. Go check it out. I'm just saying, go look at that. But the main thing is get your harvesting tools. You get, I believe, 2 pieces of gear and 1 harvesting thing, like tool. So if you're a herbalist, you get a sickle or a scythe or whatever it is. And then you can get a hat and a chest. I believe it's a hat and a chest. Or there's actually 2 pieces. I mean, 2 pieces you can hold, but 4 pieces.
Yeah, like a tool, 1 tool ones. And 2 accessories, I think.
That's it. Thank you. I was sitting here struggling to remember. Go get those. If you're going to do harvesting, even if you've been harvesting, you have no idea the bonus it gives you. It gives you such a bonus. Get it. Especially, go on. Yeah.
I got to ask, Frosty, I know you're not into the crafting and the professions. But if you were going to pick some profession to do, or 2, because you get 2, which would it be and why?
I had already, I don't have a good reason for this. I would pick jewel crafting because I want to make pretty gems.
Oh my God, we need a jewel.
That's the only reason. Yeah. It's purely based on aesthetic and not based on any practical reason. I was a jewel crafter in BFA and Shadowlands, and I just kept doing it.
Jewel crafters are underrated right now because they can make a lot of gems that are needed for other things. And oh my God, we need a jewel crafter in the guild right now. That's the one thing that we're desperate on. Actually, someone was screaming, I need a lariat. And we didn't have anybody that could craft it, whatever it was.
Too bad I'm on Moonguard.
Squid says she would also pick jewel crafting.
Yes.
If
Actually,
only,
yeah, we were
Squid,
talking about
if
that.
only you had enough internet to do jewel crafting.
Frosty and I are the same person when it comes to professions.
In that we don't. Nice.
But anyway, going back on it though, like I said, harvesting guys, check out the guides. Like I said, I have that overload ability. You wouldn't know these things unless you go and read them. Go read them, go check them out. And take advantage. Don't go nuts. Like right now it's only 5 Sparks of Ingenuity. There's no other way to get them, right?
Just 5. There's no other way.
Yeah.
Just 5. So when
If
you're
you're
spending those
building
Sparks
more
of
than
Ingenuity,
5, that means you're probably not
Also,
raiding or something.
But, don't be scared to use them. Do not be scared to use them, because even if you use them on basic items, you can always recraft, with your primal infusion, with your concentrated primal infusion. You can take something that you created the first couple of weeks with your primal infusion and then create it or recraft with your concentrated primal infusion to take it to an even higher level. So don't be afraid to use them, right? Fill out your slots, get all the shit you want.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this now on the topic of crafting and professions. Don't feel obligated just for like consumables to always buy the best. Don't go into that auction house and spending 800 gold on a Glacial Fury when there's 150 for a silver tier, unless you're trying to, like we discussed before.
That's different. Sencard. That's different though. Yeah. Those are like consumables versus crafting stuff.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying though, in the highlight of that, I do want to notate that. But anyway, though, we covered the crafting gear. We covered all the professions. We covered the gathering. I hope that this brings a little bit of insight to you with also the tier quests and getting your Sparks of Ingenuity. Also, just trying to prepare yourself to get your foot in the door is really what we're here for. We're not trying to teach you to be the best. We're just trying to get you through that little first hurdle, just to get you into the door to be like, okay, at least I got a little knowledge to walk in through the door with. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
We barely know what we're talking about too, so.
Yeah, hardly. Don't listen to us.
Yeah, but
we know everything.
Opinion
this is an
podcast.
opinion podcast. Yeah.
Not educational.
Opinion podcast. I love it. Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Right.
though. I think we hit all the notes. There's only one note left.
You know the drill. All right, everyone, stay frosty. She won't say it.
Send it. Oh, that was beautiful. Is everybody here? Yeah.
Yep.
I am inside.
Come on, guys. Please.
Frosty,
Also,
as he
the,
enters a woman, I am inside. Sorry.
What the fuck, man? God. Someone clip that on the stream. What the hell?
Welcome to Sencard's Inner Thoughts.
Oh my god. And
I have now entered
the things you say when you're not on a podcast. All right.